Time for some more kitchen table astronomy at the Amherst kitchen table of Hampshire College astronomer Dr. Salman Hameed, our own Mr. Universe, who is also the CEO and founder of Kainaat Studios. Kainaat meaning cosmos in Urdu, which is the language you grew up speaking in Pakistan. And in Pakistan and other places in the world, there's an exciting event that is an eclipse in our shared sky. It is not in our shared sky in Amherst or in the 413, but it is a lunar eclipse that a lot of people in the world will experience 2 weeks from now.
Right, so on the night of September 7th and 8th.
Okay, so experience a week from now.
There is this lunar eclipse, which, as you mentioned, it's going to be, the total eclipse is going to be visible to over 6 billion people. And but that's from Japan to Africa.
Okay.
And all of Asia in there as well, but not in the U.S. And the Americas. But it's a cool event. Lunar eclipse happens when the moon passes through the shadow of the Earth. Basically, the Earth blocks the light coming from the sun, and this moon becomes copper color or reddish color in the sky. And this is one of those instances where, in the solar eclipse, people go like, oh, you have to be careful. Like, that at the total eclipse, you can see that, but rest of the time, you have to be careful, need glasses and things like that. Not the case for the lunar eclipse. Just go out, look up. It's available. You don't even need a telescope or binocular or any kind of special instrument. Just look at it. It looks beautiful, reddish color moon.
So Kainaat is your baby, and tell us about the mission of Kainaat and how it ties into what you're doing with this lunar eclipse that we will not be able to see.
Well, so Kainaat Studios basically we create content predominantly for South Asia, but also for the global South, and that the content is using astronomy to build curiosity, both for kids and for grown-ups. So some of the conversations that we have here actually also show up onto the Kainaat channels. Those are in Urdu/Hindi, because the spoken language is similar in India and in Pakistan, but also in English as well. In fact, this conversation also showed up into one of the English channels. Now,
as I don't speak Urdu.
Not yet. But the idea behind that is that oftentimes good quality content, cutting edge stuff, especially for kids, is produced in Europe and in the US, and it is the people that are talking in it, the kind of cultural references that people are giving are here, which is understandable.
Yeah.
But they have a big reach in other parts of the world, but the audience may not relate it in the same way. But there is a different thing if that content is coming out from that region with hosts that actually look like the local population, who are using references that are relevant to the local cultural context. And then you can imagine kids looking up and say, you know what? I relate to this stuff. This science that they are talking about, the universe that they are talking about, that's for me as well. It's not something coming from outside, but it is being brought out from inside. So that was the foundational motivation, that you produce content that is high quality, but it actually reflects the cultural context of the global South.
And the videos that I've seen about the eclipse in our shared sky are amazing. There's really cool illustrations and high production values, and yet the narrators and the scientists reflect the population of at least South Asia. And they tell stories that are coming from these cultures about what ancient peoples in those regions might have believed was happening when a lunar eclipse happens, and then explain the scientific part behind it. But the other cool local connection is that some of the production values for these Kainaat videos is also Hampshire College based.
Right, so one of our main editors, so if you get a chance, do go and look at these videos, which are also in English. And our editor for the kids' videos is actually there, Abdullah Kavish, who's a graduate from Hampshire College. And so that actually is fantastic. And others are also from all over the world. But I should mention that when we were creating this Eclipse website, our tagline is 6 billion people, one eclipse. And we really wanted to reach out, sort of like, and to bring together context from other places as well, and especially, as I mentioned, the global south. And so the website is in English. So you can actually go through the videos that you will find are in English, including I have a short video as well explaining the eclipse, and that's in English. But there is a button over there you can actually press, and then the entire website turns into Urdu. And the videos that are on that website are also all in Urdu, not just dubbed or anything, but actually created for Urdu. And because the spoken language is similar with Hindi, there is another button over there, and you can click, and the entire website then turns into Hindi. And then again, the videos embedded in there are in Urdu and / Hindi. Now, we genuinely believe about astronomy being sort of like, transcending borders in some sense. And so in Kainaat Studios, especially for kids' videos, we have a host that is from Pakistan, Roshan Bukhari, who's wonderful in terms of explaining things and relating to kids. And then we also have a host from India, Rashmi Shoram. And she's also fantastic. And so in our videos, they actually alternate. If you look at it, in one video, it was going to be Roshan, and another video, it's going to be Rashmi. I also love the fact that their names actually almost rhyme. And we don't, I mean, so, and we think that is something that we can do, especially, I mean, there are a lot of things that the internet has sort of like, made problematic. But this is something that we can do. It is hard to travel for Pakistanis to India and Indians to Pakistan. But hey, through the internet, at least so far, we can still communicate. So for kids, what we want to address sort of like, not going into politics of that. But when we are talking about the sky, here is one host from Pakistan talking about the sky, and here is one host from India talking about the sky. They are doing it in English, they are doing it in Urdu and Hindi. And we just want to make it smooth. And that's, I think that's one of the things that I love about it. And the thing that you mentioned about mythologies, it is that similar kind of concept behind it. The mythologies we highlight. So a lot of the Kainaat Studios is coming out from South Asia, mostly from Pakistan, and a host from India. But we actually highlighted one mythology from China, Chinese mythology, Chinese folktale. And we actually got it vetted within China, like, that, okay, how's it going to be? Our videos had also played at the Hangzhou transit system, which was like the transit system over there. They actually play our kids' videos with subtitles. So, and they want to do that again with the eclipse coming in.
So, like, think of how many people use this transit system in China that are seeing these videos.
Just in Hangzhou, a transit system, it's a couple of million people per day that take that. And we want to go actually even bigger than that. And so they are actually translating our stuff and providing subtitles, and hopefully it's going to be again over there. But we wanted to highlight those folktales, those mythologies, because they play a big role in the cultural context. And so, but we also wanted to be accurate. So we actually vetted it. And we also have another video with a mythology from South Africa. And again, we wanted to make sure that the context is correct, and we've tried our best. So I mean, if there are mistakes, we apologize for that, but we've tried our best. But again, the idea is that these stories, we want to highlight it. Oftentimes, stuff regarding eclipses, for example, or scientific events, come from NASA. And NASA have done a brilliant job. NASA is a brand that everybody recognizes. But it's also mostly in English. There's a little bit of Spanish as well, but mostly in English.
Not for long, maybe.
Well, that's a whole other thing, right? But they present stuff as relatively neutral in terms of, okay, here is science. We're not going to sort of like, touch other things. Coming from South Asia, oh, we love color. And so our animations, for example, there are live hosts as well, but also animations, they're full of color. We have used school activities. So activities for kids from 1 to 4th grade and then 5th to above. Those are also available on the website. There is an instruction and then there is a short video just on how to do it. Now, one of these activities is actually borrowed from JPL, the NASA website,
The Jet Propulsion Lab.
Jet Propulsion Lab, and but it was really black and white, and it was sort of like, straightforward thing. Oh, we added color to that. And we placed it on the website, although ironically, we also have a black and white version of that. And part of the reason is because if people want to download, they can actually download it black and white. But it still has our animated character talking. There is a little bit of humor in it and things like that. Because, again, we want to bring those things back in the context of the global south.
Mm-hmm.
It's not coming from outside, but it's from inside. And as you hinted at, the world is changing, right? I mean, that who knows how NASA's context, NASA's place is going to be. And you are also already seeing the rise of the global south in some sense, and also, for example, China and other places in terms of science. China.
There was just a big article in the New York Times a couple of weeks ago saying that many people internationally are choosing Asia over the United States now for their collegiate research into science because of what has been going on politically in this country.
And in that context, and you have India, you have China, you have South Africa, you have so many places which are really rising up to that, and the population is proud of what they see is going on in that region. In that context, we also want to bring that if you are looking at scientific information, well, here is a website, here are videos that are also coming from those regions with slightly different perspective, with slightly different stories compared to sort of like the conventional stories that people are used to. For example, here in the US or in Europe, there are local stories over there, and with people who are from that region. So that's in a nutshell what we are trying to do.
And like I said, even though we can't see the eclipse here in the Americas, there will be lunar eclipses in the near future, and this resource is going to live on. So if you want a good explanation of how an eclipse works and get to hear some cool folk tales from other parts of the world about what they in ancient times might have thought an eclipse was, these videos are there for you. I think I want to play some clips from these new videos that you can see in eclipseinourSharedSky.com.
And because we are a nonprofit, by the way, we are registered here as a 501c3, and some of the support actually comes locally for this. But if you can support science and think about science in the global south, if you have the means to support, first of all, you should support NEPM.
Yes.
Because this is not the fund drive, but I think public radio is crucial. And after that, if you think, well, you know what, this is a cool science and education project that is helping the global south, you can also support Kainaat Studios, which is a nonprofit 501c3 based locally here in the Valley, based in Amherst.
And having influence all across the globe.
And by the way, Monte, you said that you cannot see the eclipse. That is correct, going outside and looking up. However, we are going to have live stream, and we plan on doing it from multiple countries during the duration of the eclipse.
So we can watch it online at least.
Yes. And while we do that, while we look at the moon, one other thing that we are trying to hit is, and we're going to talk about it some other time, we have talked about it in the past, and that is to think about the future of the moon as well. This is the time you can imagine sort of like, how the moon is so important to us. This reminds us of its centrality to a lot of cultures in the world. But this is also a time when a lot of companies are thinking about going to the moon. A lot of countries are thinking about going to the moon, perhaps for mining purposes, for building a base, and for scientific purposes as well. But this is the time to think about who decides what can be done on the moon. And when we are thinking about the shared sky, this is one of the themes that we are also trying to get, that we should consider moon as a common heritage of humanity.